Hello, and welcome back to the reentry room, the space where we stop pretending that working motherhood has to look one way and we start telling the truth about what it actually feels like. I'm Alexa Starks. I'm a leadership expert, workshop facilitator, speaker, founder of Executive Moms, and I have two little toddlers. And I help women navigate two of the biggest transitions of their careers: returning to work after maternity leave and deciding what comes next when that return no longer feels right and they're thinking of maybe pivoting to entrepreneurship like I did. All right. Today, we are talking about a question that's been echoing in so many moms' heads quietly, privately. This question of, what if I don't want my old life back? And there's this moment that happens after maternity leave, after you've had your baby, and you get back into the swing of things, going back to work, and everyone around you is celebrating that things are getting back to normal. And you're supposed to be relieved. You're starting to maybe sleep a little bit more, get back into your routine of work and the structure and the rhythm of your days. Obviously, now you have a baby, but inside, you start to feel it, this ache, this sense that the old normal doesn't fit anymore. Part of that is because now you have a whole new human being to take care of, but the rest of it, the meaning, the job, you're not sure what you want yet. Is your job the same? It's not. You're not the same. Is the work meaningful anymore? But you just know that it's not this. This doesn't fit the same anymore. And this moment, it's not confusion, it's clarity that's trying to make its way through the noise. So I want to talk through this myth. First of all, this myth of normal. And it's this big lie that we've been sold, us as working moms, that normal, quote unquote, is the goal, right? You have a baby, you get your back to normal. You get your body back to normal. You go back to work and your days become normal. You go back to your old normal routine, right? And that if you can just get back to the version of yourself before the baby, then your career, your energy, the drive, everything else will settle into place. But normal is often the thing that broke you. And it was maybe before you had late nights, you were doing all this invisible extra work, you were constantly proving yourself and trying to overachieve, and you're not craving normal now. You're not craving that. You're craving more alignment and meaning and fulfillment and rest and breath and calm and centeredness now. Sure, you're ambitious, but not the same way you were before you had a baby. And so before you try to go back to the old version of you, pre baby, ask yourself, what do I actually want this next version of life to feel like? Not look like, but feel like. Is it peaceful and spacious and purposeful? Let that be your North Star, not your old job title, because you can find ambition. I teach this. I teach how to pivot to something else. If you're thinking of switching from corporate to entrepreneurship because you want to do something more impactful, more meaningful, more aligned, and have more time for space and calm and rest and be with your kids more, that is important. And so ask yourself, what do you want this next version of life to feel like? And the second thing I want to talk about is this: maybe it's me, maybe there's something wrong with me spiral. And a lot of the women that I coach and that I talk to on a daily basis say, I thought I just needed more sleep. I thought I was just exhausted. I thought I'd adjust once I got back to work. And I thought this was just part of the postpartum fog. But it's not always exhaustion. And sometimes it's really an awakening. It's your body's way, it's your mind's way of saying that there is something more and I want to explore it. So if your life no longer feels like it's fitting, that's not a personal failure. It's the sign you've been looking for that you've outgrown your old self. That's a really good thing. You're evolving, but your systems and routines and structures just haven't caught up yet. So while you're evolving, you're stuck in your old hamster wheel, and so it doesn't feel right. And that's why it feels like you're pushing up against something invisible, because you are. We have to redo those systems. And the last thing I want to talk about is how to listen to yourself before you make the leap. So if you're in this space of not sure whether you should stay in your career or whether you should pivot to entrepreneurship and explore doing something different or make a career pivot to a different job. Here's what I tell my clients: don't rush to fix it. Sit with the discomfort because that space between knowing and deciding what to do is sacred. And it's going to take some time to really sit with, what do you want to do? What would you want to do? And start exploring that quietly. Jot down what feels heavy, what feels light, what you daydream about, what you would want to do, what you're passionate about, what your skills are, what you love doing. That's all data, and that will help you make a better decision. And then build small experiments. Start testing out a side project. If you're thinking of pivoting to entrepreneurship, maybe it's take a course or buy a workbook or explore coaching and consulting. um, you don't need a grand exit. You just need a door cracked open. Explore what you might want to do. Get feedback from friends and family on, hey, I'm thinking of pivoting to, consulting or doing XYZ. What do you think? And get their feedback. The more you say it out loud, the more your brain will start to recognize, oh, here's the door cracked open. Maybe I just need to step through it. Because you might not be ready to quit yet. And I always tell my clients, and I talk about this, the longer runway you have between building a side business while you're still employed to actually making the leap, the more you can have your daily job income. And that's safety, because it is nerve-wracking to leave your job, and pivot to entrepreneurship and not have the safety net of your stable income. So while you have a job, think about what you would want to do. Start building it out, start writing it out, start planning it, thinking it, because you might not even know what's next yet, and that's okay. But if you've been whispering that, I don't think I want my old life back, and I'm not fitting into the same systems, and I think I'm different, and you start to feel that motherhood identity shift that we've talked about in other episodes, you start to feel that pull of wanting to do something else, something new. That's not wrong. And you're not alone in this. So many of us go through this. I went through it. I pivoted after 10 years in corporate America. I had mapped out my entire career ladder map. And then as soon as I had my first baby, I started to feel that pull of, oh, I'm not passionate about my job anymore. And sure, I love aspects of it, but not all of it. And I wanted to do something more meaningful with more impact. And I was discovering my new motherhood identity shift and what that meant. And then when I had my second baby, I was like, screw this, I got to get out. So you are not alone in this. So if this is your first year back after maternity leave, if you're new and thinking about the corporate to entrepreneurship pivot, starting to wonder if you're meant for something different, this is the exact work that I do in my coaching, in my programs, in the workbooks that I have. We'll figure out exactly what you want next, what's possible, and what needs to shift so you can build a life that fits you. I'll put a link in the description to my website and some resources that you can look at, because you don't have to go back. You can go forward. And that's what I'd love to help you with. I'll see you in the next episode.